Oh, well howdy there y'all. Yamasaki here. Welcome back to the channel. And today is part 9 of the 1980 Toyota 4x4 preservation. So let's go ahead and take a look. So as you guys probably saw in the intro, this thing finally fired up. We got everything else that was a necessity to get it running. There is a few problems that I'm going to have to go over and show you guys on what we ran into today, but for the most part it fires up, it runs. It's just pretty much small oddball ended pieces left to do to this thing, and she's pretty much done and ready to go. So what we had to do today to get it running is I'll start with these vacuum hoses. There's a lot of vacuum hoses on these old trucks, especially with the EGR smog emission control garbage that you pretty much don't need unless you want to keep it absolutely original. That's what all these lines here are. Like right here, there's another one right here. There's we plugged one off over here. The only real one you need is one that goes to the distributor here, and that goes to the manifold down here. Just pick a tube, any tube, you should be good to go. We also have another one right here. There's two right here, and how we did that is, as you can see, there's two. So we just used one piece of hose and blocked it off. There's another one right here. So, you know, there's just a whole bunch of little odds and ends that you have to block off with the vacuum system. But other than that, you pretty much don't have to worry about anything else. One thing, I don't know if I covered that in the last video or not, but we had to build an exhaust system. So I'm going to go ahead and crawl under this thing and show you guys what we came up with. Alright, so I'm going to start up at the front here. And right here is the headers. If anybody's wondering, we got these headers from Headman Headers, specifically designed for the 22R. And it came with these flanges and this little piece right here. It's kind of bald at the end here, and then the headers itself are rounded too, and that connects, so they give you this piece so you can build off of it if you're building your own exhaust. Makes it pretty easy, you know, you just got 3 bolts here. So what we went ahead and did is we welded, and mind you, this is 2-inch pipe is what we have on this thing. Comes down through, and I did not realize right here, this part that connects to the bell housing is actually designed to keep your exhaust in place. You use a clamp and you clamp that son of a gun together so it doesn't move and it's not straining anything up here. Moving back, we had to make another joint, another clamp, and then we get back here. We'll get the light here. And we put a Thrush glass pack on it. It sounds pretty nice, as you guys saw in the intro. Just gives it a nice little rumble. So we went ahead and added that. And we go all the way back right in front of the rear wheel. We did not go all the way back because it would have been a real big pain in the butt to go all the way back. You can actually see right there, there's connections right there for where your bands would go further back on the exhaust. But in this case, since we cut it short here, we built our own, and it just mounts up right to the first set of hold downs for the exhaust. And how we did that was we took the larger part of the 2-inch pipe and we bolted it on to just the regular piece, and we took a hose clamp and used it kind of as a bracket for this piece of strip metal here. My dad actually got these little eyelets here, and we welded them on, and it makes for a perfect little setup. And it is solid as a rock. It's not going anywhere. So nice little simple design there. So that's it for the exhaust for the most part. I'll go ahead and show you a little bit of the interior that I've done. I haven't done much. I did end up getting this door panel on. We stole this. I stole this from my original driver's side door because it was a good panel. We had to put a lock in to match the other lock, but luckily we've done that. And there's the cat. She's obsessed with this thing. I'm not sure why. But we went ahead and put the lock in, and it works for the most part. It's a little jaggy, but it works just fine. Went ahead and used an SR5 armrest, and this originally came with this door, because like I've mentioned in previous videos, this door is from a 1982 Trekker. That's pretty much it for the interior. I did connect the gauge cluster dim switch as well as my cigarette lighter. I don't know if either of them are working yet, but I'm going to hopefully figure that out here soon. Another thing you'll notice is we got mirrors on her now. And these are the best mirrors they made for these trucks. They came on the SR5s, more specifically the tow packages. They're just really well built mirrors. They run off a little ball joint here, and you just got two places to mount them. One good thing that I will tell you guys is if you have a 1980 Toyota just like this, what you're going to get is you're going to get one mirror on the driver's side, and you're going to get nothing on the other side, and it's only going to mount right here, and you can actually see where the original mirror mounted. Well, what I will tell you is both the bolt holes up here for the original single mirror on these pickups and the top of these mirrors both have the same length between these two bolts right here, which is a good thing if you want to modify your truck to fit these mirrors, which is what we did. These are good, very good templates if you actually have a door with at least two of those holes. So they're both solid, one on this side and one on the other side. We still got to get the glass for them, but that's easy. We'll go ahead and get those. Did find a little plug here. I'm not sure what this is from, but it fits real well in this hole. We're gonna figure out, I'm not so sure. It's pretty big and bulky right there, but we'll figure out some small little rubber plug to plug that hole up. Don't really want to weld it because we've got this clear coat on it now, and welding it's just gonna mess it up. For these smaller holes, we'll probably just go ahead and get some small machine screws, put a little dab of silicone on the threads, and sock them in tight, and they should be good to go. Another thing I forgot to mention was when we were first attempting to fire this thing up, there was a big backfire coming from the exhaust, and my dad was a little eerie on that. He suspected that our timing was 180 degrees off. So what did we have to do? We had to take the valve cover off, and we had to make sure both of the valves on cylinder 1 were loose, and we had to take the distributor off and make sure that the rotor cap tip is facing up this way. It was in fact facing that way, as Dad said, 180 degrees off. So we had to take the distributor off again, rotate that, put it back in, bolt her up, and sure as shit, she fired up with a little bit of gas. Here's the thing about that. When we tried to fire it up, we were trying to get fuel into the fuel pump here. Or not the fuel pump, the fuel filter. And we were getting absolutely nothing. So my dad went ahead and instructed me to get the air hose and blow some air through this line that goes all the way back to the tank. And I had to go back here, and I had to listen to see if there was any gurgles in the tank. There wasn't. What I ended up having to do is we have a long bed SR5 fuel tank, which is specifically built for the long beds. It's a little bit larger of a tank, but it's got the same design overall as the short beds. And what you'll find out, what I found out, was there's these two little caps, these two little plates on top of the gas tank. Maybe you can see. You actually can't, but right there, right where my finger's at, there is a plate on top held by screws. That one is your gas sensor, right there. The other one is your lines, and there's 2 lines on that one. And what I found out on that long bed tank is there was probably 30 years of built up gunk on the longest line going down into the bottom of the gas tank to get all the gas as you run out of gas. It was plugged up with this brown, gunky, waxy, tacky, really old smelling gasoline. So what we suspect is that small little line on that plate is clogged to hell. Because when I was working on the fuel lines of this thing, I took them all off, I sprayed them all out, and I aired them all out, so there was no debris in them at all when I installed them. We have a new fuel filter, we have a new fuel pump, all the new hoses. So the only thing that we didn't check, and this was a couple of years ago actually, a good many years ago, when we were doing the tank, all we did is we took it off, we clear coated it, and painted it, and just slapped it on. We never checked to see if anything was functional in it. So that will be our next mission, is to drop the tank and clean that out. It's not going to be a fun experience, but we got to do it, because if you don't have gasoline, you're not going to have an engine turning over and running. I think the last thing I have to show you is what I just got done doing as of about 20 minutes ago or so, is I ordered some LED bulbs, because from the last video I explained that the bulbs here were burnt out and there were no bulbs in the back on the tail lights. I just got these off of Amazon, the LED lights, and they actually shine really bright. We still have that headlight to deal with, so we got to order a new one of those. This one's working, still strong as can be, but these shine really bright. They look really good. They work. That one works. And amazingly, this one works. I remember showing you guys that one in the last video. Amazingly, somehow this one decided to work back here. It just magically turned on. Then again, this truck is, for the first time, being powered on and running since being apart for years and years. So everything's just heating up and getting back into order. One thing I will show you is the tail lights. I was able to get at least this side done. And what I found out is that this is actually how these blinkers work. They're just fast blinkers, which is actually pretty nice, pretty unique. So that one's in sync with the front. The other side works too. It wasn't working a minute ago, but it works. We also have the reverse lights. They shine really nice on both sides. I still have to put the cover on that one, and I'll explain that in a minute. So yeah, we got some nice bright backup lights. And the last one, I'll show you. I don't know, maybe you can kind of see it. You can kind of see the brake light working back there. So that's pretty nice. Now the only reason the brake light doesn't work on this side is because I'm trying to get that LED bulb in there, but for some reason I just can't get it to quite go in enough to twist and lock into place. I'm not sure why. I'll get it. It's probably just a tough spring, so we'll manage that somehow. So yeah guys, that's pretty much it. It's pretty much just odds and ends now that we have to do, just all the small stuff. The exhaust was pretty much the last big thing, and then we got held back a little bit by the gas tank, but you can't run a vehicle if it's not getting gas, so that's a necessity. But I hope you enjoyed this video guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment for more content, and Yamasaki out. See y'all later.